Faith and politics have always been intertwined in America, from the Revolution to the Civil Rights Movement to President Bush's faith-based agenda. We're a religious people, and we mix our religion with our politics. Always have, and it's always been controversial. Well, for a quarter century now, Christian conservatives have taken the lead in bringing religion into political life. But this month's midterm elections have humbled that powerful movement, and now the recriminations have begun. And one of the most famous pastors in the world is right in the thick of the fight. ABC's senior national correspondent Jake Tapper has a new installment of our series, Faith Matters.
Tomorrow afternoon at his 22,000-member church in Lake Forest, California, Pastor Rick Warren will hold his second annual Global Summit on AIDS. Warren is the best-selling author of The Purpose-Driven Life and a very influential conservative evangelical. Last year, to much fanfare, he decided that conservative Christians have for too long ignored those suffering with the disease. Not, he decided, in keeping with the teachings of Jesus.
The fact is, the evangelical realm of the church has failed in this area. They put it off too long. They didn't care.
But this week, evangelical leaders made it clear that they do care about the fact that Warren invited to speak at tomorrow's conference this man, liberal Democratic Senator Barack Obama of Illinois, who disagrees with them on so many other issues, perhaps most importantly, abortion. Dozens of conservative Christians have urged Warren to rescind his invitation, including Reverend Rob Schenck, who heads the National Clergy Council.
When you put someone like Senator Obama in that pulpit, you loan that individual a religious credential they otherwise wouldn't have. That's what we object to.
Schenck says Warren has no business bringing to the pulpit, the sacred desk, a man who supports abortion rights.
Senator Obama's policies would nullify that right to life, and right now that is the paramount moral issue of our day, and Senator Obama's presence in Rick Warren's pulpit will send a very confusing signal on that.
This is just the latest in a series of contentious debates within the conservative Christian community. Many evangelical Christians wonder if their leaders have focused too much on issues such as abortion while ignoring issues more relevant to the vast majority of what's in the good book, such as how to help the poor or the sick. They ask, what would Jesus do? Warren, in an email to his congregants, responded to the criticism by noting that, quote, Jesus loved and accepted others without approving of everything they did. That's our position too, but it upsets a lot of people. Also upsetting a lot of people, the Reverend Joel Hunter of the Northland Church outside Orlando, Florida.
And he saw the poor.
Hunter had been named president-elect of the Christian Coalition of America, but he resigned this week, even before his term could begin, because, he says, the Christian Coalition board disagreed with his desire to expand the group's agenda beyond opposition to abortion and gay marriage.
I wanted for us to do in the political realm, in the political advocacy realm, what we do in the church. We pay attention to poor people. We pay attention to injustice. Pay attention to those that are sick. We pay attention to the environment because it's God's gift of creation and so on and so forth. So I wanted to expand the issue base, because Christ was not just about morality. Christ was about compassion.
Which is not to say that Hunter would have stopped the group's activism on those issues.
I would have stuck by those traditional moral issues because I believe they're right. My goal was just to expand it into the rest of those compassion issues that we've talked about.
This week he announced that he and the board had parted ways.
They really weren't ready to risk expanding into these other areas. They were afraid of alienating the base, which is a legitimate concern. They were afraid of declining income, which is a legitimate concern. And frankly, one of the ways that you provoke the most response from people is through anger and through fear. It raises a bunch of money. It raises the level of exposure. And so there are practical reasons just for focusing on a very few issues, because that's how you get the largest constituency active.
The chairman of the Christian Coalition, Roberta Combs, says she and the board wanted to expand the agenda to issues such as the environment, but wanted to first make sure that the rank-and-file members were on board.
Our board is interested in looking at other issues, expanding our issues. But they're also interested in not keeping or upsetting our base, people that have been with us for a long time. They also want to be mindful of them and let them be a part of this, and that's why we want to survey them to see how they feel about this and let them be a part of whatever decision we make.
Hunter sees that as something of a cop-out.
I've never known how to survey people and really make great strides. You know, that's not how you expand. You know, you expand by leadership.
But it's tough to do that. David Kuo is an evangelical conservative and former deputy of the White House Office of Faith-Based Initiatives. Last month, he published a book criticizing Christian leaders as being too narrowly focused, and he was attacked as a liberal, a heretic. It has only made him more combative.
Christians have spent so much time evangelizing their politics that they've really corrupted the name of Jesus.
Yesterday, Kuo responded on his blog to those criticizing Rick Warren for letting Barack Obama speak at his church. Quote, "Are they so blind and possessed with such a narrow definition of life that they can think of life only in utero?" Kuo, too, feels his leaders need to expand their focus. But many, such as Schenck, strongly disagree.
We are not done with the big issues. Again, the sanctity of life, marriage, our public expressions of faith in this country. We have not even begun to resolve these issues. So to add more to the plate or to be distracted by others that we would see as subordinate to the bigger moral issues creates a problem.
So just why is same-sex marriage and preventing gays and lesbians from marrying more important than poverty?
Well, again, I'm going to say, if you look at the time, volunteer hours, and the money that churches spend.
But I'm not talking about churches. I'm talking about Christian political leaders in Washington, D.C. I understand what's going on
Well,
there.
I think that's our peculiar platform. Our peculiar platform is to address the paramount moral issues. That's our charge. That's my job.
Why is the Christian political leadership in this country more focused, or entirely focused, generally, on the morality issues and not the compassion issues?
Well, again, I think that the morality issues set the tone, set the direction for everything else. It's pretty tough to say you should be concerned about that homeless woman on the street if, in fact, we have no respect for the dignity of human life.
The compassion of Christ has somehow been tagged as liberal. It's not about being liberal or conservative. It's about following Christ and trying to live the kind of life that he lived.
Just how to do that is a debate resonating in pulpits and pews throughout the country. This is Jake Tapper for Nightline in Longwood, Florida.
The new realities facing Christian conservatives.